Hey, what's up, guys? Here on the Fire Sports Pod, where everything we got is hot. I'm your host, Zach Jackson. Here's our co host, Irv, back at it again with another show. We are here on Recap Monday. It is season 6, episode number 19. Again, guys, we are powered by StreamYard, where StreamYard makes the dream yard go. We're going to get to our segments for you guys today. We got 3. We're going to do recap of our college football bracket and where we are at with the national championship. We're also going to be going over our NFL playoff bracket, and we're going to be going over some big news that happened earlier today with the departure of Mike McCarthy out of Dallas. We were not able to get re-sign him to a contract and agree on a contract deal. So he'll be going elsewhere. So we are going to be going over the departure from Dallas, where he might end up, what teams might need him, what teams might be interested in him, and if Jerry Jones is going to make a decision on the coaching relatively soon, and who will be the Dallas Cowboys' next head coach in Big D. Let's go over those. We're going to start with recapping of our college football bracket and how did our pick do on Friday and Thursday. I know we went over the Penn State one on Friday. Again, guys, we all know Penn State was able to took the L against Notre Dame. Irv got that one right. We ultimately both picked Ohio State to clown on Texas, and that was the case. It was a closer game than was expected in Arlington. But exactly what I said, but just the polar opposite. Close first half, second half blew them out. Same kind of concept. I should say fourth quarter blew them out because Ohio State just scored like 14 points in the fourth quarter. Jack Sawyer, our man, the myth, the legend, our captain, man has been a Buckeye for life. He's loved the Buckeyes ever since he was a kid, and he went to Ohio State. He even had a good story on ESPN where he had his dad go to the bathroom, called up Ryan Day, and said, "I'm coming to Buckeye Nation." Before, even though his dad said, "Hey, let's go look at other schools," he's like, "Nah, I'm a Buckeye." So he came up, made the biggest play of the game, strip sack on Quinn Ewers to return it for 83 yards for a touchdown to seal the deal as Ohio State gets the win over Texas to advance to the national championship. We were up 21-14. The game ended 28-14 Ohio State. So we are now set up for a national championship between number 7 Notre Dame and number 8 Ohio State in Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta, Georgia on 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time next week on Monday, January 20th on ESPN. I think we can all go and say on a limb here, we're taking Ohio State to take the dub over Notre Dame. Ohio State is just a better team. They are playing all crazy good. They're going all cylinders every day, 24/7, 7 days a week. Ohio State is going absolutely nuts. So far in the playoffs, they scored over 40 points against Tennessee, over 40 against Oregon. They scored a quiet 28 against Texas, and they are going to roll past Notre Dame in some crazy fashion. It might be a repeat of 2015 when Zeke ran all over Oregon and they won 42-14. I'm going to pick Ohio State to win 35 to 20 I'm going to pick 35 to 17. I got Ohio State 35-17, and that's my pick for this college football. And then to review our picks before, we're going to do a recap after Monday, January 20th. On Wednesday, we'll recap our entire bracket and who did better on their picks, me or Irv, and ultimately who won the national championship. So that will be that on next Wednesday, which will be I believe that's season, it will be 20, 21, 22. So that'll be a season 6, episode number 23 next week. So Irv, the floor is yours for the next 2 to 3 minutes. Let me know who you got for your your surprise or not surprise against the Texas and Ohio State game, and then your pick for the national championship between Ohio State and Notre Dame.
Yeah. I mean, it'll be quite brief. Just a good performance by Texas. I think they were keeping up with Ohio State because Ohio State did drop 42 consecutive games before versus Texas. So I think they put up a good fight, but just the defense overall just took over, and they ended up scoring, and sealing the deal for Ohio State. So it was a very dominant performance. I think Ohio State is probably the best balanced team in college football, and it's going to take a lot for Notre Dame to try to succeed and try to beat the best team. I think their defense is good, but they're not as good as the Ohio State defense. Do I think that the Ohio State offense could overwhelm Notre Dame's defense? Probably. I don't really know, but I can't go against Ohio State in this one. I'm gonna take Ohio State to win the college football championship here.
Okay, so there you goes. There you guys have it. We both are picking Ohio State. I think it's a no-brainer. If Notre Dame wins, it's the ultimate collapse against Ohio State. That
Yeah.
means
Oof.
Will Howard threw multiple picks. Ryan Day and Chip Kelly got outcoached big time. And on top of that, our defense played like crap. If that happens, then kudos to Notre Dame. They did what they were supposed to do. But if I don't think that's gonna happen. Notre Dame's got to hope for a miracle. And there's really not a lot of miracles in sports. You just gotta. It's luck and skill. And if you have both, you're good. Ohio State's had a luck of being able to knock absolutely pummel Tennessee and Oregon and take down Texas. Three of the top teams in the college football playoffs they have to go through. So I don't. I love to. I hate when people say, "Oh, your schedule was too easy." Well, Penn State's schedule was very easy. They ran into Notre Dame. They got smacked. Even Notre Dame's
Hmm.
schedule was very easy, and they had a close one against Penn State. So Texas had a hard one. They had a tough fight against Clemson, tough fight against ASU, and then they got their asses handed to them against Ohio State. They fought big until the fourth quarter, like we said, and then they just got outplayed. Um, Ohio State takes Notre Dame. We both pick Ohio State. Let's go Buckeyes. Oh, you best
Yeah.
believe it. I'll be wearing my Ohio State Buckeye sweater coming
Nah.
on
Yeah.
Monday
You
and
better rep
Wednesday.
Ohio, man. You better rep
Monday
Ohio. But
and
also,
Wednesday.
I would have to add just a little quick thing. Like Ohio State has all the pressure in the world because
Oh, without a doubt.
we've seen Ohio State be chosen. For example, the Michigan game. I know that's a rivalry game, but they were supposed to win that game because you got a non-ranked team and those are bragging rights, and you lose. So can Ohio State lose this matchup? Of course.
Of
Is
course. I
Notre
mean,
Dame is Notre Dame scrubs? No, they're not scrubs. But do I really think that Ohio State will lose to them? Absolutely not. So yeah, that's why Ohio State, and then you also got um Ryan Day. That's his job on the line because he has not won a national championship yet. So I feel like if he doesn't win that day, that's it. He's done. He's done in Ohio.
yeah, I completely agree. I think this is kind of his moment to really prove the doubters wrong. And I think if he doesn't get the job done, there's going to be problems in Buckeye Nation. He might stay another year just because they made this big run. But that's pretty much it. But we're going to be moving on to NFL football, ladies and gentlemen. We had wild card weekend already about to be wrapped up. We have our last game tonight between the Minnesota Vikings and the LA Rams, where both of us have picked Minnesota to win this game to advance to play Philadelphia. So that will be the case there. Now we're going to be recapping what happened on Saturday and Sunday in wildcard weekend. We had the Washington Commanders just barely beat Irv's Tampa Bay Bucks 23-20. It was really fault on the defense. The defense played really well. It's really not the defense's fault. It was more of the offense. The offense played like crap. They were the number 3 offense in the league coming into this game, and they showed like they were one of the worst offenses in the league. Mike Evans was really the only person that kind of came to play. But Baker Mayfield had a crucial turnover inside the 20-yard line when he tried to hand the ball off to the speedy wide receiver for the Bucks, and they just messed up the exchange, fumbled the ball, and then Washington scored right after that. I don't think if that does not happen, you guys sealed the deal because you guys are already up by 7. There's no tie game there.
Yeah.
I think
And
that was
then also I gotta give credit to Jaden McDaniels. I mean,
yeah.
our defense played pretty solid, but he just outperformed us as well. I mean, he basically threw 270 yards against us, scored 2 touchdowns. He went 24 for 35, and he just performed really well. I mean, our defense was doing our best. Like we literally couldn't read him because if we pressured him, he threw it down the middle. He found a
Mhm.
receiver down the middle. If we didn't pressure him, he would just hit his star receiver, and it just wouldn't, and it just wouldn't work. And then on top of that, you have his run game where if you cover everyone, you leave the middle open, boom, he runs and he gets that first down or he gets the 2nd and 5 or whatever. So we just got outperformed in my opinion, and I wish the offense would have performed a little bit better. I think I don't know Baker. I don't know if Baker Mayfield was off one tonight. I think he just had a bad game today. And like you said, yeah, that turnover was very crucial. It completely kind of ruined our momentum in the game. And,
Yeah,
you
and
know,
you guys were
so
rolling too. You were
yeah,
stopping Jaden Daniels and everything, and then just that fumble really just went.
yeah, that fumble. And then on top of that, at the end of the game, Commanders wasted time. They had the timeouts, they had
And you
all the
also had
time
a
in the
chance to
world.
stop him, man. Your big guy, number 96 or 94, missed the tackle. He grabbed the freaking towel.
Yeah.
He didn't get Daniels, and he had him in the backfield, man. That would have been a sack. It would have been a tough field goal to hit. You guys would have had 40 something seconds with no timeouts. And Baker Mayfield's a gunslinger. You got Mike Evans. You got those guys that can hit those toe grabs on the sideline. You guys had a shot, but you needed to make that tackle. But
Yeah.
that's what the NFL is great.
It's the NFL, man. Yeah, it's the
That's why
NFL.
sports is awesome. So Washington will advance to play against Detroit in Detroit. Now it's the Eagles. Now the Eagles game was a bit of a shit show. Jordan Love and the Packers were just not ready to go without Christian Watson, their number one wide receiver. They had no answer. The
Mhm.
defense of Philly just swarmed and dominated Green Bay's offense. Jordan Love looked like he was throwing to his teammates, but his teammates were actually the Eagles defenders. He was throwing great passes to the Eagles defense. He had 3 interceptions, played really well, played really bad, no touchdowns. It just was a really bad game for Green Bay. They just were not in it to win it. Philadelphia, still, I didn't like the way Philadelphia played, to be honest. They only scored 22 points. They had 3 turnovers, and they only had 7 points off those 3 turnovers. I did not like the way they played. Their offense is absolutely abysmal. Their offense is ass. They only got Saquon right now. AJ Brown and Jalen Hurts are off. They looked horrible yesterday.
Yeah.
I just didn't like Philly's offense. Just did not look good. I think their offense, especially against the Lions, the Commanders, the Vikings, or the Rams, no matter who gets to where, you're gonna have to be able to score points. And no offense, the Eagles' defense has gotten much better throughout the season, but they're not the best defense in the NFC. Not even
They're statistically they're the best team, best defensive team in the NFL.
I don't like that. I don't think they are. I don't like
Mhm.
that. I've
Yeah,
seen
I think that's why they make up
I've seen better.
for all of that.
I got the statistics, but I've seen better, and it really
No,
just
yeah. No, yeah, I completely agree with you, but I mean,
if I'm
at the
talking
same
best
time,
defense in the NFL, I,
mhm,
I like Kansas City. You know why? Because they haven't had any. All their close games have been less than 20 something points. So that just shows their defense have been held in games. The only team I can look at the schedule. There's only been like 2 or 3 games that they had over 25 points. The opposing offense. So that
mhm,
shows you their defense has been locking down, and Kansas City's played everybody this year. When I mean everybody, all the good teams. So, but hey, Philly's got a good defense, and that's what, like you were about to say, that's what kind of pushes them over the limit without their offense. But in order to win a Super Bowl, in order to compete for one, Philadelphia is going to need to be able to play offense at a consistent rate and play defense at a consistent rate. If both of those are not aligned, they're not going nowhere. Sorry. You're
right.
not beating Detroit. You're not beating Kansas City. You're not beating Buffalo. You're not beating the Ravens. So, I would say that we're not going to go into detail about the what our picks are for the following week. That we'll do on Friday.
Yep.
Now our next game, we had the Chargers versus the Texans. That shit was abysmal. That shit was embarrassing. Justin Herbert sucks ass. He is horrible. I don't know what the hell. He was worse than Jordan Love. He was throwing another. But again, I can't blame him for everything because 2 of his 4 interceptions were not his fault. They tipped off the guy's
Yeah, yeah,
into
there were
his hands and whatever,
a
and they
lot of
got
tip
fixed.
passes.
A lot of
Yeah.
tip passes. But Chargers defense was absolutely Chargers defense was actually playing really well. Their offense really let them down. Derwin James, it was 10-6, had an interception in the end zone. He drops it. Texans go and score a touchdown right after that.
Yeah.
So I think the Chargers they just laid an egg again. They did it last year where they were up 30 something to 0 against the Jaguars. Jaguars came all the way back, beat them 31-30. I think they just laid another egg. And this one was worse because they just couldn't play offense. I think the Chargers are going to be good for the foreseeable future. They just got to get over the hump that the Steelers are in the same type of hump where they just can't win a playoff game. They haven't won a playoff game in 5-6 years straight.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, yeah.
so I really don't think there's much to say about that game. I don't even think the Houston Texans played well. They got a pick 6. They got multiple inside the 20 off of interceptions. I don't even like the way Houston played. I don't like CJ Stroud. He even still only had 1 touchdown and a pick, only had less than
He
240
threw for
yards.
280 yards though.
Yeah, I just didn't like the way he was. Didn't like
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I mean,
going into the playoffs. You gotta be able to limit your mistakes. I didn't like the throws were just a little off. Even though Nico Collins went off, he had a great game. I
yeah,
just still think that it's you're forcing it to one team, and now they got to go play Kansas City. I mean, if some miracle happens, yeah, but you're coming off Kansas City with a bye. They're all healthy. They're all ready to go. It's in Arrowhead. I think we can all even cross that game off the list. We're taking Kansas. I'm taking Kansas City. I don't know about you, but I think that game was just for both teams wasn't their best showing, especially for the Chargers. Houston was able to capitalize because of their defense, and their defense was playing really well. But against Kansas City, they have to play perfect to even have a
yeah.
shot in that game.
I mean, yeah, I think their defense was pretty spot on, holding the Chargers to only 12 points. Like, although it was, I mean, those tip passes at the same time, like, they worked on it. This is a defense that, you know what I mean, that if as long as they work together and they read the quarterback. I don't know if they're going to read Patrick Mahomes, but they read Justin Herbert, and Justin Herbert's a talented quarterback. So
Exactly.
I feel like if they really they have to have a perfect game. Maybe one mistake, but you can't have more than one mistake because Patrick Mahomes and that cheap offense, like they'll make you pay for it. So that's exactly what you have to do. But also on a side note, can we name the MVP of the game? McConkey.
Oh,
He McConkey he had receptions to almost 200 yards.
yeah,
Isn't that
197 for two touchdowns, right?
not for one touchdown?
Touchdown, 197 yards. He's the only person on the Chargers that came to play.
That which is insane.
That's crazy.
Insane. But yeah, and then you got Joe Mixon 25 carries for
He
106
did
yards.
really well. They've established the running
Yeah.
game, which was big.
Mhm.
But Stroud needs to be better, though. In general, Stroud still needs to be
Yeah,
better.
I think Stroud maybe, because if he does the same mistakes that he did against the Chargers with the Chiefs, he's gonna definitely pay for sure. For sure. Those he's gonna pay for his consequences if he continues to play like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
without a doubt. Now the next game was the Pittsburgh Steelers versus the Baltimore Ravens. This game was as expected for me. I figured that Baltimore was going to win pretty handily. Pittsburgh's offense didn't play bad, but their defense was non-existent. Their defense couldn't stop a nosebleed. Derrick Henry
Um,
almost rushed for 200 yards for 2 touchdowns. Um, I mean, Lamar Jackson looked like the dude was amazing. 16 of 21, over 200 something yards with 2 tutties as well. Um, I have nothing to say. I think Baltimore, other than Kansas City, I think Baltimore is the best team in the NFL. I just like the way they're playing. They got a better defense now. Their
yeah,
defense is playing much better.
I was gonna say that like their defense has been playing, better the last like the second
Second half.
half of the season. They've been playing really well, and it seems that it's been going on, even here. Like the offense did perform really well. I mean, Russell Wilson threw for 270 yards with
Only missed 9 passes. No
yeah,
turnovers.
but still held them to 14 points. So, I think the defense is doing really well. And then the offense, I mean, you have that dynamic duo in Lamar and Henry, and then you also have I mean, you just have the talented Lamar, man. I mean, could be a co MVP. Who knows? I don't really know. Last time that happened was what 2007, early 2000s was when the last
Mhm.
time they had a co MVP. So who knows? I mean, right now they're gonna verse Buffalo. That's gonna be the battle of the MVPs. Who maybe this is bragging rights, or maybe this could be a slight push for whoever might win MVP at the end of the season. Who
Yeah.
knows? I don't know, but yeah, I mean, both sides of the ball performed really well, and can't wait to see this next game against
Yeah,
Buffalo.
this next game's gonna be crazy. And then you got Denver against Buffalo. That game was absolutely bullshit. I don't know how Denver scores 7 points in the first like 4 minutes of the game, and then they don't score for the entire game, and Buffalo goes on a 31-0 run to close out the game, winning 31-7. I don't know how that's physically possible, but hey, or whatever. Josh Allen was amazing. James Cook had a really good day on the ground, over 120 yards on 25 attempts. He really had a really good day on the ground. It's good that Buffalo's establishing the run, so they don't have to lean on Josh Allen every day, all the time. But on that 4th down and 1, man, that throw in the back of the end zone to their running back on 4th and 1 was absolutely superb. That was amazing play. Josh Allen's a beast. Like you said, Irv, it's going to be a battle of the MVPs this weekend coming up. We'll see who wins this game. You might be. I got some crazy takes.
Well, let's see. Coming when I think
Friday.
set up picks Friday. So coming Friday, we're about to really see. I got some takes as well. I really think we should be okay. We're gonna have a nice talk about you know who's gonna win that game.
Yeah, without a doubt. So this coming weekend, we will have the Washington Commanders taking on the Detroit Lions. We will have the winner of the Minnesota LA game tonight going to take Philadelphia. We would have Texans versus Kansas City. We have Baltimore versus the Bills. We will see you guys for season 6, episode number 20 on Friday will be our picks for that coming weekend. So we'll see you guys then with that. And last but not least, guys, we're going to go out on a limb here and just go to toe and talk to you guys about what's happening in the NFL world when it comes to coaching. So we'll talk more about this on Wednesday because I want to go over some of the coaching changes. But Mike Vrabel, the new head coach in New England, a longtime Super Bowl champ, 3-time Super Bowl champ with New England linebacker. He's coming back to his hometown should say hometown because he won 3 Super Bowls there. His home team in New England, and to see if he can right the ship in the right direction after Bill Belichick hightailed out of there. We'll see with their Drake May, and I think that was the best decision and the best choice of action for New England to take Mike Vrabel. I think it was the best case scenario. Other than that, we'd have to move to the big thing, and why I'm wearing my Cowboys sweater is because we're getting rid of Mike McCarthy. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, it is a great day. That notification made my day today. We are getting rid of Fat Cheeseburger Man Mike McCarthy. See you later. Because we ain't going to miss you. Because this guy, and all due respect to Mike McCarthy, Super Bowl coach, he just wasn't the right fit for the Cowboys. He gave us 4 12-5 seasons. He just can't make good second half decisions and change the team in through the season. It also doesn't help when Jerry Jones doesn't give him enough team players to help out and fulfill the roster. But Mike McCarthy will not continue as the Cowboys head coach. CBS Sports NFL insider Jonathan Jones has learned. Now, the next coaching stop for Mike McCarthy. The Bears were interested in Mike McCarthy. The Cowboys said they declined permission. Remember, we talked about that last week. They declined the permission. Now that Mike McCarthy is no longer the Cowboys head coach because we couldn't agree to a deal, could there be a Mike McCarthy Bears type of thing? Mike McCarthy was the ex-Packers coach. He hated the Bears. He never liked the Bears. They always were. That was a rivalry back then with the Bears and the Packers. Does he go to these arch rivals in the Bears? Or does he take
Dallas too? Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
What was Dallas too?
Dallas, and
he ended up doing that. So that's a possibility. Or there is a head coaching job up the road in MetLife right here in East Rutherford, New Jersey. Does he reunite with Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams in New York? That is something that's up in the discussion. Could he consider a reunion with Aaron Rodgers because the vacancy coach, that coach is not going to be the head coach next year? That's a possibility. You got Devontae Adams. You got Alan Lazard. You got freaking Aaron Rodgers. You got Breece Hall. It reminds him of when he was with Green Bay where he had his Alan Lazard there. He had Aaron Rodgers. He had Devontae Adams. He had a running back. He's got in Breece Hall. He's got a good defense. Just saying, that could be a possibility, a real big possibility. Would I like to see that? Hell yeah, that would be pretty cool. Would I want him to go to the Bears? I could care less where he goes. But where I think he would be better suited off is both. I think you get the best of both worlds. You get a young, talented quarterback in Caleb Williams. You get a young team. You get a bunch of guys that can know how to play the game of football. They just had a bad strain of luck this season with losses in close games. And maybe Mike McCarthy can right the ship, at least get them into the playoffs and winning again. Or does he go with New York, who's desperately needing a leader, a guy behind the scenes in the head coaching job where they can really just get a grasp of it and get to the next thing, because they do have a team, a bona fide team there. But again, we don't even know if Aaron Rodgers is going to come back and stay. He might retire. We never know. It was up in the air at the end of the season. It
I
was.
don't.
It
I
was a
don't think
discussion that he was
it
going to
was for
retire.
discussion, but in my opinion, I don't really think so. I mean, he dragged Devontae Adams from wherever he was to join him in the Jets, and then just for him to play one season, and then the season
No,
going
I
bad.
don't. I don't think it's going to happen. But a lot of people are speculating that. So I think if Aaron Rodgers stays, Mike McCarthy would probably go to the Jets. That's if the Jets want him. Now, the better question is, what the hell is Jerry Jones going to do, and who the hell is the Dallas Cowboys' next head coach going to be? Now, there's a bunch of things. Will Jerry Jones choose a current coaching candidate, or a guy with a Dallas connection, or it will be the outside of the box? Will the Cowboys pursue Belichick? We all know he's with North Carolina in college, but will they pursue him to try to get him out of North Carolina to come to Dallas? Because again, Dallas has got more money than North Carolina does. So those are some big bucks here in the NFL. Or will Bill Belichick, or could they be near the top of its wish list? Or did they go and try to get the man called Primetime in Deion Sanders? Again, we were talking about this weeks ago, months ago, about Deion. I don't think Deion's leaving. I don't think Bill Belichick's leaving. So if that's the case, who's else? Pete Carroll from Seattle, ex-head
But
coach.
we said Pete Carroll was already getting interviewed by Chicago, right?
But again, they haven't made a decision. Now their first choice was Mike McCarthy. Their second choice was Pete Carroll. Now Mike McCarthy's on the board, so maybe things could
I
go.
don't. For me, I don't know if they're gonna go with Mike McCarthy just because of the season that he had. Like, I know that you had injuries on top of that, but look at the seasons where they didn't have any injuries and they made it to the playoffs.
Yeah,
They couldn't really pass the wild card, or and you know,
yeah,
so I really think they're gonna give Pete Carroll a chance. I mean, Pete Carroll was there in the Super Bowl. He's a Super Bowl winner. I mean, so is Mike McCarthy. But I just think they need to take a new direction, especially since Pete Carroll hasn't coached in such a long time. If you go with Mike McCarthy for that Bears offense and defense, I really think it's just going to be the same result because Dallas has the better players, whether injuries or not. They still have the better players on both sides of the ball compared to the
true.
Bears. So
Yep.
imagine you take Mike McCarthy into a Dallas situation just worse.
Yeah.
It might be a worse season that the Dallas Cowboys had. So, in my opinion, I feel like they should still pursue Pete Carroll. Where do Mike McCarthy fit best? I mean, you still have Jacksonville, still have the Jaguars, you still have the Raiders, and you still have the Saints. And you also have the Jets, like you said. I like that Jets option because you do have a former player. He was with Aaron Rodgers when Aaron Rodgers won the MVPs. He was there with Aaron Rodgers when Aaron Rodgers won the Super Bowl, and so was Devontae Adams. He was there with Devontae Adams as well. So when you add those two together, I mean, I really think the chemistry is going to build up, and I honestly think that Mike McCarthy is going to benefit better in the Jets because he could familiarize the system because he already had Aaron Rodgers, so that way he doesn't have to go over a whole bunch of stuff with a guy that he's been with already for more than enough seasons. Do I see him going to Las Vegas?
No.
That's a money move. If he does, that's a
Yeah.
really big money move. Jacksonville, I don't think so either. Like I said, it's the same situation for the Bears. If he goes to the Bears, if he goes to Jacksonville, it's not going to really benefit because Jacksonville's a worse franchise than the Cowboys, and I really think that he's not going to benefit at all. I think they're just going to have the same record, maybe a few more wins, but I really think their objective is to reach the playoffs. And with that squad right now, I don't think they're going to reach the playoffs, even if Mike McCarthy takes control. So I'm
Now, who
definitely
would
going
be
to agree
the
with you.
Dallas Cowboys' next head coach, do you think?
Now, so there's been some candidates. I read that,
Oh, Ben Johnson, the Lions offensive coordinator.
and then you also have the defensive coordinator as well. I forgot.
Oh, yeah. I
Forgot his
forgot his
name.
name.
Wait, I had it here. Aaron Glenn.
Yep, Aaron Glenn. I would
Aaron Glenn.
personally take Ben Johnson. But what I
Yeah,
will
no,
do,
Ben Johnson I
what I
think is
will
better.
do is I'll say sayonara to Mike Zimmer, and if they're both available, we bring in the defensive coordinator from Detroit to be our defensive coordinator and bring Ben Johnson to be our head coach.
That's a mad money. That's a
You keep
massive money move
you
too.
keep both of them in the same room, just change teams. And it's kind of the same defense because the Lions, they got Aiden Hutchinson. Cowboys got Micah Parsons. We both healthy. I think the Dallas has got a better secondary than Detroit does. Our front line, I think, is a little bit better than Detroit. Detroit's defense is not all there. They're not that good. They've given up so many points to so many teams. And the Cowboys, when healthy, they're a good defense. They turn the ball over. We weren't healthy. So I think you bring that guy as the defensive coordinator, we're going to be going nuts. And then you bring Ben Johnson with his creativity, and then you bring whatever he wants as an offensive coordinator. I mean, I could care less. As long as you get the head coach, we're good. We're good for me.
Yeah, and also
He could be the offensive coordinator and the head coach. He also could do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I see that. Excuse me, I see that pick for you guys, like for Dallas. I mean, I
Right?
think
Makes sense, right?
I think that's what you guys need to benefit the most
Yeah.
on the defensive side. I mean, I know you guys had injuries, but I really think that you guys would definitely benefit from having a defensive coordinator and then at the same time having a head coach in Ben Johnson, and then him being the offensive coordinator. I think that will fit well for you guys.
No,
Yeah.
I do too. I do too as well. All right, so that's pretty much it, guys, for our show here on the Fire Sports Pod, where everything we got is hot. I'm your host, Zach Jackson. This is our co-host, Irv. We are powered by StreamYard, where StreamYard makes the dream yard go. Again, this is, guys, is Recap Monday on Season 6, Episode number 19 on the Fire Sports Pod. I appreciate all the support, guys. Again, guys, just to let you guys know, if TikTok gets banned, is routinely supposed to in the next 5 to 7 days. If it does get banned, ladies and gentlemen, you guys can find us on here, on Instagram, on Apple Podcasts and Spotify at the Fire Sports Pod. I'm hoping it doesn't get banned. But if it does, it was a great ride, and I appreciate all the support from all my fellow followers on TikTok. And if you guys can just do me a favor and come on along to the YouTube, the YouTube, Instagram, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify is all linked in my bio on TikTok and all the other platforms. So go check it out. Other than that, guys, that's pretty much it. Enjoy tonight's wildcard weekend game between the Vikings and the Rams. We will see you all on Wednesday for Season 6, Episode number 20. Peace out, guys.